The law, when you say legal structure, I think the foundation is the law. You find many times that the people that are fronting bills in Parliament are not business people, and yet these bills affect business people. So I think sometimes the problem begins there. The people who are called sometimes to give views are like lawyers, but some of them don't maybe necessarily understand the nitty-gritties of the business sector from which they come. So I think there is need for Uganda as a country maybe to set up business think tanks for different sectors, so that if everything, even legislation and innovations that come out of there and turn into bills for Parliament are actually sourced from data and information-based resources. Then the other thing I would also say is lawyers. We have about 4,000-5,000 lawyers in Uganda, and they're all centered in Kampala. So we need lawyers, legal services to be spread out. I want to appreciate the judiciary. Right now, they're trying to ensure that every sub county has maybe a magistrate's court. I think that's going to increase access to justice. But the questions of modern countries, modern economies, do we need courts to deal with commercial disputes? Because there's aspects of alternative dispute resolution that are known to be more effective and quicker, because our courts are already logged with criminal cases, and right now we have about 4 trillion of commercial cases. So there are serious challenges around the backlog, and it raises questions of whether maybe we should just adapt what other countries and economies like Singapore have done, and ensure that almost all commercial disputes are put for alternative dispute resolution through mediation. Arbitration, which takes 90 days, is hard to appeal, not because it's unjust, but because the arbitration process is it's almost very inclusive, and it has the person that's adjudicating, the person that's in the middle there, the arbitrator, is usually an expert in that subject matter. So usually he's somebody that both parties will trust, both parties chose, and the decision comes out faster. So these are innovations we need to see within the legal sector in Uganda for the businessman to be protected. But also we have a lot of legislation affecting the business community, which has not been disseminated to the business community. I think the Ministry of Trade has a lot of work in disseminating this, breaking it down. We need to work with a lot of, with all the organizations that are helping SMEs, the banks. These things should be freely available at the banks, but sometimes we find that only the information that benefits the big institutions is available. So that's what I would say. I would not say that the legal sector right now, the legal structures in Uganda really favor business. Our land tenure system is a big problem. It's the cause of a lot of the money that is stuck in backlog, land disputes. We have succession issues. We have problems with taxation. I think there's over-taxation in certain areas, and then there's no taxation in others. So we need to ensure that we tighten our shoestrings when it comes to issues of how do we create an enabling environment for the businessman legally. Yeah.
Maybe second last.
Well, that's our discussion. That has been our discussion, and of course, regarding the legal framework structure, and of course, how is the business community really, of course, very represented, and something very important that she mentioned, and of course, benchmarking how other really countries are doing it out there in case of any commercial case, and of course, being sorted by dispute resolution. And of course, one of them, arbitration, despite the fact that it takes long, that's about 90 days, 3 months. But anyway, for other countries where it's been adopted, it seems to be really working very efficiently. And now, because we are trying to look at a common business person, a normal business person, what if there is a commercial case? And there are so many commercial cases that we have in our country, Uganda. Joram, as we're winding up, what's your remark regarding this?
I don't like the fact that she does mention that sometimes the people who make the law or the policymakers who make the law, especially for business, are not people in business.
Exactly.
And they are simply going to make the laws not knowing what is happening on ground. It takes us back to the idea that there are some statistics regarding some issues, but they're only on paper, not basically rotating around what is really happening or reflecting on what is happening or occurring at the end of the day. So by the look of things, these are things we have to as well notice and be able to identify. But for the business people, I think knowing the law, sometimes ignorance of the law doesn't it doesn't
help you. You're innocent. Yeah.
So it doesn't deem you innocent.
Yeah.
So at the end of the day, you really need to have information, awareness, and at least getting to know of the law, what you should and what you shouldn't do at the end of the day. Knowing the law can actually be very helpful for you, because with the kind of businesses that we are doing currently, you should be at least having some legal knowledge.
Definitely. Actually, before you venture into any business, for any business person that is starting up business, it's very important that you get to know, the legal repercussions in case something comes up in your line. What does the law say about that? Because with that, nothing will get you by surprise, and you will be always prepared for the worst. So that is something for a business person to also put into consideration as you wake up in the morning, of course, to go run your business. Get to understand, am I doing everything right? What happens in case I go against a certain principle in my business, a certain law in my business? What are the repercussions? What's the penalty? Because being innocent about the law won't help you.
All right. Thank you very much, and the entire team here at Smart Means Business. Till tomorrow, have yourselves a good day, a good morning, and kickstart of your business day fruitfully, with hope that everything will be well. Till tomorrow. Bye-bye.